Wow. It was a proper game, wasn't it?
Absolutely was, yeah. I mean, we didn't expect anything different, but still, you know, when it comes around, you quite never know how they're going to pan out here. And there's a ferocity to the games, there's a chaos at times. Emotions are riding high, given the importance of the game for both teams. And sometimes it comes down to the finest margins, and I think it did that today. Like I heard people say, it's probably the closest thing you get to a state of origin over here. When these two teams play against each other, and I think that comes that the two clubs are so very similar in terms of they invest heavily in the youth. There's a real passion amongst both towns for the team and the club. There's an expectation around success, and the high standards are set and have to be met. So that makes for what you see out there, you know, most times when these teams compete against each other. With our middle unit, we've got, you know, a number of players who can do different things, and I think that's a real strength of ours through the middle. Is that obviously Al's unique in terms of he's like 6'5" and 114 kilos. He's a battering ram. He's hard to handle. But Al couldn't do what he does on the field if he didn't have Morgan Knowles at the side of him, if he didn't have Matty Lees at the side of him, you know, if he didn't have Jake Winfield coming off the bench, and when George Delaney plays, and Sione Matautia playing through the middle, having played centre last week. You know, these are special efforts from special players, and you need all of that to go and win games like this. Weirdly enough, I don't want to play against teams who are numerically disadvantaged. I love rugby league 13v13, the best of best, and whoever wins wins. So, but I understand the way the game's changing and decisions have to be made like that. Obviously, we were on the positive side of that this week in terms of, you know, keeping players on the field, but also we've been hurt by that as well earlier on in the season. Discipline plays a major part in the game now, more so than it's ever done. And you've got to handle being down to 12 men at times, and you've got to handle also playing against 12 men. And weirdly enough, sometimes it can be more difficult playing against 12. And I think, you know, we stagnated a little bit during that period, but certainly wasn't a huge concern. You know, we lost against Salford a few weeks ago, which was a disappointing result for us. And then you look to two games against Leeds, and then Wigan on Good Friday. It can be a pretty daunting, you know, the proposition when you've come off the back of a disappointing defeat. But I love the way this playing group have attacked that, and obviously advanced to the next round of the cup. 2 important wins in Super League, and obviously the challenge is another tough one next week for us at Catalan. But the way this team has responded from that disappointment is really pleasing, and we sit where we sit on merit. I've just said to the group, there's myself, and there's a number of players in there from St.Helens who understand what the fixture means. There's a few you know, other blokes who are starting to learn and understand what it means, which is okay as well. But there's near 15,000 in the stadium tonight, minus a couple of thousand behind the other set of sticks who've gone home absolutely ecstatic in terms of, you know, their teams won a derby. But you know, the wider thing to that as well, like the borough of St Helens has around 180,000 people in it, and there have been people all over the borough glued to the TV screens this afternoon watching that game, you know, cheering the boys on. And I think, you know, I said to the playing group then, you know, as someone who understands coming from the town, you cannot underestimate the impact that, you know, your team winning a game like that has on the town and the wider community.